Tambo2 used to be Tambo3, but the order was changed in 2017. Tambo2 is a fast-paced form. However, be sure to complete each technique before moving on to the next movement. The moves must be committed to memory so completely that the kata becomes a single continuous technique. Thorough study of the applications allows you to visualize your opponents, adding intensity and focus to the form. Begin with a standard salute with the Tambo. Step back into right cat stance with an upward diagonal strike from right to left. Shuffle forward with a downward diagonal strike from left to right, followed by an upward vertical strike. Flow into a downward figure eight, ending in a right forward stance with a thrust. Step forward into a left lunge stance as you perform a right high wing block, flowing into a low block. Perform a diagonal upward right to left, looping into a diagonal downward right to left, shifting into right forward stance with a horizontal left to right strike. Step into left forward stance with a two-handed thrust, continuing into an upward vertical strike. Step your right foot into lunge stance with a roof block before shifting your weight back to the left with a horizontal right to left cut. Step your right foot back to natural stance as you slide your left hand to the end of the Tambo. Step forward with a left upward diagonal yin strike from right to left. Pass the Tambo into right yin grip and perform a roof block. Perform a downward figure eight, flowing into a right to left horizontal strike. Shift into a left back stance with a reinforced back thrust. Return into a right forward stance with a right lower block. Shuffle forward with a right rising block. Shuffle forward again as you punch with the butt end of the stick. Shuffle forward again with an upward vertical cut. Flow into a low sweep from left to right, ending in a right turtle stance with a downward thrust. Step into left forward stance with an oar block on your left side. Release your right hand and execute a left middle grip thrust to the front. Grab the Tambo with your right hand and flow through a roof block as you step forward into diagonal stance. Grab the free end of the Tambo with your left hand and pull into an upward knee kick before sliding both hands to the center of the stick and landing with a downward thrust. Shift into right forward stance with a left to right middle grip double strike. Shuffle back with a right to left middle grip double strike. Shuffle back to your starting place while performing middle grip downward figure eights. End with the left to right downward diagonal cut. Look to your right, then to your left as you bring your right foot back to natural stance. End with a bow, returning the Tambo to a double-handed grip. The bunkai, or applications, to Tambo2 can be broken down into 3 series. Series 1 begins with a long-range disarm against a right-to-left downward diagonal cut. Immediately shuffle forward, attacking at different angles and to different levels. Block a second opponent's attack with a wing block, then counter-attack to the hand or knee. Continue attacking to the hand and head to disarm and disable the opponent. Begin Series 2 in a double-handed grip as though your Tambo were a baseball bat. Swing to back one opponent off before engaging the second with a low thrust. When he counters, block his high attack. Finish him with a horizontal swing from right to left. As the remaining opponent attacks, step offline and strike his hand. Block his second strike and trap his stick as you counter with a downward diagonal cut. Flow into a hooking disarm. As he covers to defend against your strikes, hook your Tambo behind his neck, grabbing the free end with your left hand. Squeeze to apply a choke. Series 3 begins with the Tambo in a right yin grip. Defend against the first opponent's attacks with a lower block and rising block. Trap his weapon hand as you punch to his face with the heel of your stick. Grab his shoulder and reap his foot for the takedown, finishing with a downward thrust. Use your or block to strike the opponent's hand before thrusting to his face. As the opponent covers up, pass your stick behind his head, grabbing the free end and pulling him into an upward knee kick. Press into his spine to drive him to the ground. Follow up with additional strikes if necessary.